Guys, hello? I think the show's about to start. Like now? BTP? Behind the plastic? Anybody?
Hello and welcome to Behind the Plastic, the show where toy photographers talk to toy photographers about toy photography. I'm Zach, that's Sully, and we have a special co-host tonight. Everybody, please welcome Simon Toast, friend of the show, former
I just thought
guest.
Jay had a makeover. I'm like, damn, you're looking good, Jay.
Yeah.
Looking good, Jay.
Witness protection and everything right now. This is
Nice.
Simon, thank you for helping out tonight. Maybe we'll just have to get you on the show as a permanent resident here. We can just have a party every time. And
He's like,
Sully, I don't want to be here. What am I? Guys, we're going back across the pond tonight with a guy who,
for the second time.
For the second time. That's why I said back across the
I know,
pond.
for the second time.
For the second time. Wait,
I was
did we
agreeing
go
with
back
you.
across the pond for the first
you
time?
go back across the pond for a second time also.
My family lives there, so I've been there a few times, but
this is going really well already.
We've already messed it up.
Okay, this guy is not only taking wonderful toy photos, but is also building wonderful dials for wonderful people. Everybody, please welcome OneTwelveWonders.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming, and thank you for staying up so late to join us tonight. We really appreciate it.
It's all good. Any slowness, I blame on that.
Fair enough. We'll keep that in mind. Well, you know how this works. 12 minutes on the clock. Let's get it going. Phil, thank you again for coming on the show. Now, we want to get to know you a little better. We all follow your work. We love what you're doing with toy photos, with your dios. Oh, man. And I think Sully really, he's the... Well, Sully, you want to tell the story about how this all came to be?
Yeah, sure. I guess last year I had seen a reel that you put up of a dial that you made. And I'm like, that's such a awesome dial, because it was so modular. You could use it in like 15, 20 different ways or whatever. And I just kept on looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this or not. And I showed Zach, because he makes some stuff. I'm like, dude, isn't this awesome? You should do something like this I was suggesting it for him. Maybe I'm like, you can do this. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to make that since you like it so much. I'm going to make it for your Christmas present. I'm like, what? So I was
and he did.
Excited. And he did. He did. It was freaking awesome. And then I'm like, and then Zach's like, we better make sure we tag Philip on this, because we don't want him to think that we're stealing his stuff.
It's like I said to you though, man. Like I don't have a copyright on like kind of like your average city street.
Right.
or doing this. So, the tag, it totally caught me by surprise. Just a really cool thing to see. Just not something I ever expected to see either.
It's such a great
design. Was it kind of cool that you were inspiring other people, making other people excited?
Totally.
Like, oh my God.
Never something that ever occurred to me in a million years would happen.
That's
so
awesome.
that was really cool, and really humbling as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's such a great design. I must have watched that reel, I don't know, 100 times, like, how did he do this? How did he do this? And oh man. And I'm sure yours is much, much better than mine, but it was a lot of fun to put together. And I might have to copy a few other ones of yours just for myself.
I think this is what we kind of do though. Like a lot of the kind of dio building community, we see what other guys are doing and we go, okay, I can kind of reverse engineer that a little and work that out and sneak kind of design aspects from one to the other. It's kind of a organic process. I guess it's a lot like kind of, if any of you guys are musicians, songwriting, you're influenced by so many things, and they work your way into your own stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think the same thing for toy photography. You see somebody's awesome picture, like, oh, I would like to try to use that lighting or use that pose or use something.
I never thought of using that figure in that situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you have for a novice dio builder who maybe wants to get into it but doesn't know how or doesn't know where to start, what would you recommend for them?
I think getting the materials right is like kind of the main thing. Making sure you're using like the right stuff, the XPS foam. That took me a little while. The first few diodes I made out of wood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This was probably about 4 years ago that I started. And what I did, and there are still pictures way back on my account of some of those older diodes, but I basically wallpapered them with like Doll's House wallpaper, and it was good, it worked, but they're heavy, and you can't really ship something like that if you're planning to make them for people because they weigh a ton. So I think material selection probably, and I guess just, you know, not being worried to kind of screw stuff up. Like when I started out, I was kind of like, oh, I've got to measure every brick. You know, every brick has to be exactly 1/12 scale, and I would work out, okay, I go outside and measure a house brick, and then do the conversion.
That's what I do.
and then measure them all, and then kind of go, oh, all right, okay. But then as time goes on, you kind of just go, oh, fuck it, I'll just kind of, you know, I don't mean to make it sound kind of like make myself sound cavalier about it, but I think just kind of not being afraid to screw it up is like a big thing. Just kind of go for it and see what happens. Mistakes like into the design as well.
Right.
Yeah, that can really make it kind of memorable, make it stand out, right?
I've got some like, you know, kind of wonderful moments of character out of a slit, you know, with the knife, and kind of gone, oh no, I'm gonna have to start that panel again, but sort of gone, well, actually I'll just keep going and see how this turns out. And sometimes you snap a board and throw it in the bin, and other times you go, oh, this looks like it's been hit by a missile, cool.
Yeah. Simon, you've been making diodes recently, haven't you?
Yeah. I just recently got into it, and a lot of what you're saying kind of I relate to it a lot, because it's one of those things like I really wanted to make like a tunnel or something like that. And I'm like, how are people getting around? Yeah, how are they getting this
That's
rigid
hard.
foam?
Yeah.
And then I saw someone use that I can't remember what it's called, but that kind of like high density, like flexible foam that people use in cosplay. And they carved it out, hit it with a heat gun, and I'm like,
oh, really?
where did this come from? You know, and it just hit one day when I was finally trying to figure out how to do this, and so I finally got like a tube dial. So it's interesting, like you said, to just share those things. And anyway, I've got a question. If you had one tool, if you had a recommendation for one tool that a dial maker should have, something to start out with, what would that be?
Just a really good high quality blade. That's so important. Like when I started out with the XPS, I just used kitchen knives because I didn't know what I was doing. So I just
That's awesome.
well, this is a knife, like, this is and you know it does. But then you get crafting scalpels and like the kind of retractable knives, and you kind of go, oh, these are sharper. You know, these are they're a finer blade and you know easier to work with. And a good steel ruler as well.
Yeah.
Do you use a hot wire cutter as well?
I used to. I had a hot wire table. I had a technical hitch with it that I won't go too far into, and I loved using it. It's really good for cutting big boards down when you have them kind of, you know, they come in absolutely massive sizes. Hand cutting them is a pain in the ass, but I've stopped using it just because I need to find a part for my hot wire table. So I think for the last year or so, I've been doing everything by hand.
Wow.
But not so much through choice, just through kind of not knowing where to get this part from.
Yeah. Well, all your diodes are highly impressive, so fun to look at, and as I can say personally, so fun to build. Okay,
Definitely.
so we are going to take a look at one of your shots. Okay.
Ooh.
Yes, because not only do we love your diodes, we love your toy photography.
Oh, this
I
one.
know.
I'm glad you picked this one.
We want to hear all about it.
Yeah, I saw this. Like, this is the picture we're using.
Yeah.
This thing, yeah. I think this might be my favorite of like my photos probably ever.
For good reason. It's
yeah.
amazing.
And it is almost completely digital. So the only real elements in that photo are the Xeno and the Batman. Everything else is added in digitally. There's no
No
diorama.
kidding.
Yeah, the face hugger is real. The face hugger is no, wait, is it real? I can't remember anymore. Yeah, the face hugger is real. The face hugger is the face hugger that came with the big chap figure.
Okay.
But yeah, everything else is totally digital in this one.
You fooled me. I was thinking, man, look at that. I mean, I would not be surprised if you making
That was a
something
dial,
like
yeah.
this. Yeah, like wow, my mind is blown.
Yeah,
Incredible
a
work.
lot of it is just the lighting. It's just
Yeah.
and kind of like matching light and kind of getting the right exposure settings in post, which is
Right.
difficult. You know, it's difficult. It's really easy to darken stuff, but not so easy to brighten it. But yeah, the kind of raw of this photo, it looks like two figures just kind of floating in the ether, but then it's the kind of the lowering the exposure and kind of adding other elements. And like one of the things I really liked about this is a really small detail, but the little bit of kind of alien blood juice coming out of the face hugger.
Yeah.
It just kind of, it was like a really last minute thing, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun. I just like the idea of Batman beating the shit out of an alien with a xenomorph with a face hugger.
I've seen a lot of Batman versus Predator, not a lot of Batman versus Xenomorph. So this is really cool.
Yeah.
The idea that he could overpower one as well. I just find that fun, you know.
Yeah. And maybe his suit like doesn't, react to the spit, that's cool. Man, that's so good.
Prep time,
Did you have the background before you did the foreground, or did you take the picture and then try to find a background to go with it?
Yeah, I've tried both, because I do a lot of, for someone who builds dios, I do a lot of digital stuff, because I've rarely got space to kind of set up a dio, and most of the time the dios I work on them and then I do like a little shoot on them and then they go to someone else.
Oh, right.
And, and then I start the next thing. So I've not got any dios like of my own, really.
Oh wow,
it's a shame. Time to build one for yourself. And Phil, I'm sorry, it's time. I got to interrupt because we have minute 30 for the hot seat. Right. We got to put you in the hot seat. Starting with the question: who's the best British superhero of all time?
Oh God, Judge Dredd. Does that count?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, Simon.
Yeah. So, would you rather fight a one duck-sized horse or a horse-sized duck, or 100 duck-sized horses?
One duck the size of a horse is fucking terrifying. So give me the the horse-sized ducks. Wait, what?
Yeah,
the 100. The what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying. Yes.
Yeah, one duck the size of a horse is. Nah.
If you could only choose one, what would you rather do? Dioramas or photos?
That's hard. Dioramas.
Okay.
Ooh, wow. Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah.
Cool.
Totally.
That's easy. Yeah. If you had holes in your shoes, but you found a figure on the shelf that you really wanted, would you buy shoes or would you buy the figure?
I would buy the shoes. I'm quite a practical person.
Very practical.
Yeah. What's the correct way of saying this? Aluminum or aluminium?
Well, it depends which language or which version, because you guys don't have the I, but I'm going to say aluminium.
Aluminium! Thank you for coming on!
Thanks very much.
BTP, Sully, J, and Zach. Behind the plastic is where it's at. IG to Discord, reel or an overlay. Photoshop, edit, or just keep it raw within the frame. Here we go. Toy Pick community is where we show our love for the art form of figs when posed.